Leo hadn't slept properly in almost 2 years. Not real sleep, not the kind where your body forgets itself. His nights were spent floating just beneath consciousness, muscles twitching, jaw clenched, heart racing for no reason he could ever name. Doctors called it chronic insomnia. Prescriptions dulled him but never delivered rest. Therapy taught him how to breathe through panic, but not how to escape it. The ad found him at 3 in the morning. Deep pressure therapy, real rest through weight. Let your body remember how to sleep. The blanket arrived 2 days later. It was heavier than he expected. Dense, compact, folded so tightly it felt vacuum-sealed. When he dragged it onto the bed, the mattress groaned under the added load. That night Leo slept. He didn't dream. He didn't twitch. He vanished. He woke 8 hours later with tears on his face and no memory of falling asleep. His muscles ached pleasantly, like they'd finally been held in place long enough to relax. The second night the blanket felt heavier, not dramatically. Just enough that he noticed when he pulled it over himself. The weight settled across his chest and legs, firm and deliberate, pressing him into the mattress. His breathing slowed despite a flicker of unease. He slept anyway. By the 4th night, the blanket no longer lay flat. When Leo shifted beneath it, he felt resistance, a contour, as if something on top of him adjusted in response. The pressure concentrated around his shoulders and hips, pinning him with a precision that made his breath hitch. He told himself it was the filling settling. He didn't sleep well that night. On the 6th night, the indentation was unmistakable. A hollow formed above his chest, as if a torso hovered inches above him. The weight pressed down harder there, softer at the edges. When Leo lifted a hand beneath the blanket, his fingers brushed fabric stretched taut over empty space, like skin pulled over ribs. He froze. The pressure increased, not suddenly, patiently. His arms trembled as he tried to shove the blanket off. It resisted, dragging against his skin with a faint, sticky pull. When he finally threw it aside, his sheets were damp with sweat and something else. Thin strands clung between his forearms and the inside of the blanket, stretching before snapping free. In the bathroom mirror, he saw red marks mapped across his body. Not just impressions, patterns. That day, the blanket smelled different. Not musty, not dirty, human. Like old clothes left too long in a sealed bag. When Leo tried to stuff it back into its packaging, it refused to compress. The weight seemed to shift inward, compacting itself. That night, he left it on the floor. He didn't sleep at all. Sometime near dawn, exhausted beyond fear, he dragged it back onto the bed. The moment it touched him, the weight dropped. The blanket molded around him instantly, sealing his arms to his sides, pressing his jaw shut. His lungs fought for air as the pressure increased in slow, merciless increments. He tried to scream, but the fabric pressed into his mouth, filling it, sliding between his teeth, like something eager to be bitten. As panic peaked, the weight eased. Just enough. He passed out. When Leo woke, the blanket was still on him, and it was warm, not from retained heat, from within. He peeled it back and screamed. The skin of his forearms was wrong. Fine fibers protruded from it, woven just beneath the surface, as if threads had been stitched through him while he slept. Where the blanket had pressed hardest, his skin looked thinner, stretched, faintly translucent. He called the company. The number didn't exist. He searched online. No reviews, no recalls, no record of purchase. The transaction receipt on his phone had vanished. That night, the blanket dragged itself back onto the bed. Leo tried to cut it open. The scissors bit into the fabric with resistance, like cutting through layered leather. When the seam finally split, a smell poured out that made him gag. Inside were layers, not stuffing, skin, pressed flat, pale, dark, scarred, tattooed, fingernails embedded like beads, teeth caught in the stitching. The remains were arranged carefully, woven together, compressed into something uniform and heavy. Names were written on some of the tags, faded, partially erased. Leo found one that was new, his. The blanket moved. It surged forward, wrapping around him, forcing him onto the bed. The fibers that had threaded into his skin tightened, anchoring him in place. He felt pressure everywhere, now inside his chest, between his ribs, behind his eyes. His bones creaked. The blanket pressed down and down and down, reshaping him, flattening resistance, teaching his body how to yield. His scream dissolved into a wet gurgle as fabric filled his mouth, his throat, his lungs. The last thing Leo felt was relief, true, absolute stillness. Weeks later, someone else lay awake at 3 a.m, scrolling, searching, desperate. The ad appeared. Deep pressure therapy, real rest through weight. When the blanket arrived, it was heavier than expected, dense, compact, perfect. And somewhere deep inside its layers, Leo pressed down. Not because he wanted to, but because that was what he was now. The weight